Okay, so three periodic trends in the periodic table. I suppose periodic in the front. So we're starting off with atomic radii, and it's basically how big an atom is. And basically, an atom gets bigger when there's more electron shielding, and there's more electron shielding when there's more electrons, and there's more electrons when there's more protons, because negatives, the opposites attract. So more protons equals more electrons to attract. So, as an example, when you have more monies, you get more ladies. And so, at first, because the periodic table, it mainly goes, you goes through rows, and because there's so many, it just goes down. And so, basically, if you think about it this way, if you go through rows, that's kind of like the long term. And then if you just speed it up really quickly, you can just go down. So at first, you have some money and you get some ladies, and the income's kind of slow. So you slowly get ladies, but they got there first and they're really into your money. So at first, it's just a small group, but they're like all up in your face. And so the more money you get and the more ladies you get, and it kind of like compresses because there's not a lot of, shields of ladies. Ladies make shields. Yeah, use them to protect you. You could pay them. You pay them to give you protection, shield protection. Yeah, so that they get closer to the monies. That's why they compress. And then if you're to just speed it up by going down, eventually there gets so many that it just turns into a mob, and there's just this giant mob of ladies, and look at that, it's huge compared to the others. Like, that's so big. Yeah, how big an atom is. Woo. Ionization energy, and that's basically the atom's ability to hold on to its electrons. And basically because protons are the ones that basically keep the electrons hold on to the atom, because opposites attract, like I said before. So it increases again when you move across, just as it's kind of the same reason as I said before why atomic radii decreases. Because the number of protons that an atom has increases, but the electron shielding doesn't increase. So the positive charge gets stronger, and because of that, it has a better hold on its electrons. And it kind of seems like the atom gets smaller because electron shields, they compress. So to put this in the lady terms, the monies, for the real life example, I put quotes on that because it's not gonna work. So basically, as you move across and as you get more monies, the ladies are gonna want the money, or I mean you, and they're gonna compress around you to try to get closer to you. And as you fast forward and you get a crap load of ladies, and there's a point where you get so many ladies, but you only have so much money, and all the ladies in the first rings, they're the ones that are closer to you. They're getting more of the money, and the women on the outside aren't getting as much money. And so because of that, they're less likely to stay with you, because they're not getting as much energy or money. Yeah, think about that. Okay, so the last trend that basically wraps it all up is electronegativity. Wow. And It's basically the atom's ability to attract electrons, which is the simple effect of having protons. Because protons attract electrons. That's basically what the fundamental of electronegativity kind of is. It's mostly just, the more protons you have, the more electrons you're able to attract. But of course, with more electron shielding, it gets harder and harder to attract the electrons. On the outside, you don't have as much of a hold on them because the nuclear positive charge isn't as great on the outside. It's more concentrated on the electrons closer to it. They kind of take it all up. It's like this. You have a lot of monies, but when there's so much women, the women on the outside, if you're throwing money into the mob, the women on the outside are way less likely to get as much money as the women in the front, and so they're kind of not as attracted to you as the women on the inside, and so they're more likely to leave and look for a better source, or a better source could just come and snatch them up. Not kidnapping. But yeah, so electronegativity is just how strong the positive charges in total. So with more electron shielding, the electronegativity decreases, and with less shielding and more protons, as you move across, it increases. So it decreases as you go down because there's more electron shielding, and it's not able to attract the ones on the outside as much as it is to attract the electrons within the inner shells. Also, so the electronegativity, it increases as you move to the right. As you move across the groups, like the alkali metals, all of those, as you move across, the electronegativity increases, but noble gases are an exception, and they have an electronegativity of 0, and that's because they don't really need any more electrons. They don't really want any more, because their shells are kind of full. They don't desire anymore. Though there's an exception to that exception, and noble gases like xenon, that's an exception. They'll be happy to take more. As krypton is another example. Why? They're just special snowflakes. They like to have more. It's just the way it is, man.